and welcome to the October 2nd, 2024 Penfield Town Legislative Meeting. Would Councilman Ockenden please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bob. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the clerk please read the roll call?
Barry.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Leenhouts.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here.
Teglash.
Here.
Okay, first order of business tonight is communications and announcements. I'll start with our town clerk.
Yes, Monroe County Board of Elections will host a voter registration day on Thursday, October 10th from 11 to 2:30 at the Monroe County Office Building, 39 West Main Street, and also at the Board of Elections Training Center, 2595 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. Also, early voting for general election will be October 26th to November 3rd. For times and locations, please refer to the Monroe County Board of Elections website.
Thank you. Councilwoman Teglash.
Thank you. The Penfield Public Library is pleased to host 2024 Pulitzer Prize winner and New York Times bestseller author Jonathan Eig this fall on Tuesday, October 8th, next Tuesday that is, at 7 p.m. In his latest biography, which he won the Pulitzer Prize for, King, A Life, Eig has drawn an intimate portrait of the man who has become nearly a legend today. There will be book signing and light refreshments after the talk. You are welcome to bring your own copy of Eig's book or purchase a copy from our partner, Another Chapter Bookstore, that evening. You can also pre-order copies from Another Chapter to pick up at the event. Thanks to Penfield TV, the talk will be live streamed on public access and YouTube. It will also be recorded for later viewing. Please visit penfieldlibrary.org for registration information. Registration is required for this event. The author is brought to you by the Penfield and East Rochester Public Libraries. I'm really excited about this one. I'm registered and going. A new beginning. Get ready for a wonderful night of music at the Penfield Symphony Orchestra kicks off its 69th season with A New Beginning on Monday, October 21st at 7:30 p.m. at Penfield High School. This concert marks the debut of the PSO's new music director, Dr. Jared Chase, who wowed audiences as a conductor at the May 24th concert. Now he's back to lead the orchestra into a thrilling new chapter. Don't miss your chance to experience this incredible performance. Tickets are available now at penfieldsymphony.org or by calling 585-872-0774. The next two are about our hiking, our Trails Committee. On Thursday, October 3rd, tomorrow at 10 a.m., the Penfield Trails Committee is inviting everyone to a free pop-up hike at Sherwood Fields Park. This is, if you look on there, this is considered skill level 1 boot because it is a flat surface. The entrance is right off of 441, right near the Penfield Fire Company Station 3 driveway. This 1-hour guided hike offers a leisurely walk through scenic open areas, woodlands, and meadows on level, well-maintained trails that form a loop. It's a perfect opportunity to enjoy the natural beauty of Penfield while getting some fresh air and light exercise. No registration is required for this. Simply meet in the parking lot 10 minutes before the hike. And don't forget, leash dogs are welcome on this hike. We hope to see you there for a relaxing morning in Penfield. Saturday, October 12th, come join the Penfield Trails Committee for an exciting guided hike on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Abraham Lincoln Park. That's within Ellison Park. Discover this offbeat pathways that reveal the natural vistas carved by 10,000 years of Irondequoit Creek flow. Meet at the Ellison South entrance off Penfield Road. Look for the hike signs. This one would be great if you would pre-register. Just go to penfield.org hike. Everyone is welcome, but children under 16 must be accompanied by an adult.
You had a lot, Linda. Thank you. Councilman Ockenden, please.
Thank you. The town will host another Saturday brush drop-off for residents on October 26th from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m.
The service will take place at the new Gloria Drive brush facility. The new facility is located on the west side of Gloria Drive, approximately 1/4 of a mile north of Penfield Road. Please note that only brush and shrubs will be accepted. No other yard waste such as leaves or grass will be permitted. All this information and related links are available on the town's website at penfield.org/recycling. And secondly, it's that time of year, as the fall season's progressing, so do the leaves in our yards and on our neighborhood streets. It's important to keep leaves out of storm drains to prevent clogs that can cause street flooding and water pollution. When leaves enter storm drains, they break down and release nutrients that promote algae growth, harming our local waterways and wildlife. Clogged drains also lead to increased stormwater maintenance costs. You can help by raking and bagging leaves, composting them, or using them as mulch. Be sure to keep leaves and yard debris away from the curbs and storm drains to protect our community's drainage system and environment. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Councilman Barry, please.
Thank you. Penfield's Community Bike Drop will take place on October 5th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Penfield Community Center. Hosted by Penfield Recreation and Penfield Rotary, this event collects used bikes and bike parts for Our Community Bikes Incorporated, an organization that repairs and distributes bikes to individuals in need. The donated bikes will assist residents of Rochester and our region with transportation, employment, and recreational opportunities. A convenient drive-through drop-off will be available at the 1985 Baird Road location. The event is open to all. For more information about Our Community Bikes, visit www.ourcommunitybikes.net. Okay, remnants of Penfield's past live on with us today. Some of them are residents of Oakwood Cemetery and are happy to meet us and relay tales of our town's past. Join Penfield Recreation in the local history room on Saturday, October 19th at 6:30 to mingle with these characters from the past. Tickets are $8 per person in advance and can be purchased from Penfield Recreation in person or by calling 585-340-8655. Tickets are $10 at the gate. Walking tours begin at 6:30 p.m. with the last tour at 8 p.m. Oakwood Cemetery is at 1975 Baird Road, Penfield. Park at Penfield Community Center. Take the north sidewalk along Baird Road to the Stonewall entrance to the cemetery. The rain date for this event is Friday, October 25th. Get ready for a night of fall fun. The Penfield Community Victory Garden is hosting its 4th annual Pumpkin Walk at 1748 5 Mile Line Road. Come stroll along a magical trail lined with dozens of glowing carved pumpkins from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, October 19th. It's a perfect way to enjoy the crisp autumn air with family and friends. Parking is available at Rothfuss Park with a free shuttle to the garden. Best of all, the event is free and open to everyone and no registration is needed. Don't miss out on this holiday event.
Thank you, Kevin. Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you. Town offices will be closed on Monday, October 14th in observance of the holiday. Town operations will resume on Tuesday. The Penfield Library, however, will be open during its regular business hours from 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. October 25th is opening night for the Penfield Players Fall Main Stage production, The Brides of Dracula. Written by Penfield Players alumni, The Brides of Dracula reimagines the classic tale of Transylvanian nobility from a female perspective. It explores the question, what will drive you to seize control of your fate and pursue true happiness? Performance dates are from October 25th, 26th, November 1st and 2nd, on November 3rd, November 8 and 9. There are various times for each of these dates, so please review your preferred date and time at penfieldplayer.org or by calling Penfield Rec. You'll need to reserve your tickets as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. I have a couple. Town of Penfield invites you to a Halloween fun family night, which is Friday, October 18th from 5 to 7. This is a fun event for a spooktacular evening of fun for the whole family. Highlights of the event include Trick or Treat Street, where kids can visit various stations for treats and surprises. Games that will entertain the kids and adults alike. Live music, festive tunes to get everyone in the Halloween spirit. Hay rides to take a scenic ride around the community center. And of course, crafts to create your own Hollywood themes to take home. This event is free and a wonderful way to celebrate Halloween with your friends and family and your neighbors. Costumes are encouraged. Some come dressed in your favorite spooky or silly attire. Remember that all these events can be found on our website, penfield.org. Shadow Pines ribbon cutting, finally, October 8th, 2:30. Everyone's invited. Join the Penfield Town Board for ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the opening of our new recreational amenities at Shadow Pines. Again, it's Tuesday, October 8th at 2:30. The event will take place at the northeast corner of the property and will feature remarks from town officials and local leaders. New amenities include inclusive playgrounds, pickleball courts, walking trails, a pavilion, restrooms, and much more. The community is invited to arrive about 2:15. The event will proceed rain or shine. Parking is available in the Shadow Pines North lot off Whalen Road. Again, more details on penfield.org. Okay. We have one public hearing, and I'd like to ask the town clerk to call that public hearing.
Town of Penfield 2025 preliminary budget and 2025 special district budget. The notice was published in the Webster Herald on September 18th, posted on the town website and town clerk's bulletin board. No postcards were mailed due to it being a town-wide action.
I'd like to ask our comptroller, Sarah Reynolds, to provide an overview of the 2025 preliminary budget and the 2025 special districts budget. Please.
Thank you, Supervisor Leenhouts, and good evening, everyone. This presentation is a high-level overview of the 2025 preliminary budget. In the weeks following this public hearing, the Town Board will work to finalize the 2025 budget for adoption at the October 30th meeting. I thank the Town Board in advance for their continued commitment. This pie chart provides a visual reminder regarding the allocation of property tax dollars. School taxes comprise 69%, county equals 24%, and at 7%, the town is the smallest share. The 7% allows the town to provide the necessary services of public works, such as sidewalk and park maintenance, recreation, library services, as well as facets of public safety upon which residents depend, plowing, for example. For 2025's tentative budget, for the 2025 preliminary budget, we missed a word there. The appropriations total $23.9 million. That is an increase of $3.7 million over the 2024 budget. However, we are currently under the tax levy increase allowed by New York State, and non-tax revenues have likewise increased. At 57% of the budget, payroll and benefits will be largely impacted by the rising cost of insurance premiums, estimated at 17%. Despite the increase, the percentage of distribution is virtually unchanged from last year. Debt service remains flat, contractual expenditures is down 5% from last year, and equipment capital outlay is increased 5%. Accounting for approximately 18% of the tentative budget, preliminary budget, is approximately $4.2 million appropriated for equipment and capital outlay. This includes heavy-duty equipment such as new plows, improvements to park amenities, new sidewalks, facility improvements, including the installation of air conditioning in the Penfield Community Center gym, funding for our annual road program, and sewer improvements. In the 2025 preliminary budget, the DPW comprises the largest budget appropriations at approximately 50% of the total. Consistent with last year, the town library appropriations are 9%, while the allocation to our recreation department is 6% of the total budget. The town of Penfield continues to see growth in planned development as well as in home improvement investments. The valuation increased to $4.4 billion this year, a slight increase from 2024 of $4.3 million. This slide is a summary of the preliminary budget for the general governmental funds. Approximately $23.9 million in total appropriations are proposed. Non-tax revenues are estimated at nearly $13.5 million. A fund balance contribution from the general fund, highway restricted fund balance, and library fund totaling $1,184,500 offsets appropriations expense, resulting in a tax levy of approximately $9.2 million. With the town's taxable assessment at $4.4 billion, the anticipated tax rate would remain at approximately $2.10 per 1,000. The current anticipated tax rate for 2025, again, would remain at approximately $2.10. For an average household valued at $271,000, the taxes are anticipated to be approximately $570 for the general governmental portion of the tax bill. That represents a decrease of around $11.74 based on the average household value. The total non-tax revenues expected to be received in 2025 are estimated higher than in 2024. Though we still budget non-tax revenues conservatively, we have consistently seen growth in sales tax, mortgage tax, and interest rates. The total estimated cost for residential sewer services is $81.28, which is about $11.46 less than in 2024. As debt service on the sewer infrastructure is paid off, appropriations are shifted for the maintenance and upkeep of these assets. This is the 7th year in a row that rate has decreased. For 2025, the drainage rate will increase approximately 6 cents. This funding is for the townwide drainage maintenance while adhering to all federal and state stormwater regulations. The town's drainage system is extensive and includes all retention and detention ponds, as well as our creeks and surface drainage. The lighting district rates remain flat. This final slide represents a summary of the town's preliminary budget, inclusive of all properties. Specific to the Highway Equipment Reserve Fund balance, appropriations are proposed to support in part the purchase of 2 10-wheel dump trucks with plow and salter attachments and a skid steer broom attachment. These purchases were anticipated for 2025 as part of the DPW's multi-year equipment plan. The total town tax burden for 2025 would decrease over 2024 by approximately $76,000. And this is our budget timeline. Between tomorrow and the 25th, the town board will review comments and develop the final budget. And on October 30th, at the town board legislative meeting, the town board will adopt the final 2025 budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So we're going to open it up to public comments, but just as a reminder, if you're commenting on the budget specifically, you can come forward, but then if you're going to comment on something else, wait till the public participation, which is coming up next. So, who do we have? I know Tim's probably...
would like to speak.
Yeah, come ahead, Tim, please.
So while Tim makes his way to the board, I know our comptroller did indicate several times that this is the preliminary budget, but it's the preliminary budget as it was published in September. And since that time, the town has received new information regarding certain insurance rates as a result of the consortium that the town is a member of. And there were additional numbers that new information that we know already will impact this budget. So to be clear, it's preliminary, but as of September. And the board further understands that the supervisor and the comptroller have met with other departments and reviewed certain budget and have already identified certain cuts that can be made to accommodate some of those increases that, again, are new information. And so the board will be digesting that and then proposing a revised budget for adoption. But to be clear, we already know that there are new information that impacts the preliminary budget as it was published.
Okay. Go ahead, you're on.
Tim Murphy, 48 Corral Drive. Thanks for the opportunity to talk tonight about the preliminary budget. I wrote down some questions, and I'm not sure how much back and forth we really can have tonight, but I wanted to lay some groundwork. I mean, I've done this the last 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
As a concerned citizen, asked, some
Absolutely.
good questions regarding the town's budget.
Yeah, whatever, I mean, we'll answer all your questions. It may not be tonight, but, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Supervisor.
Yeah, go ahead.
So actually, my last question I wanted to ask first, and Sarah and I already had a back and forth about this, but I would really like the town budget data, the detailed data, to be made available for download, for use in a spreadsheet, so that, some formulas can be applied and we can, develop some good, smart questions, because it allows us to compare maybe year to year. I know you don't have as much history as you had in the past, but again, it would allow us to have just better, smarter questions. So making that available is really my first question, and getting it in a PDF isn't easy for us to work with, or for me to work with. I know I can convert it into an Excel format, but again, my question is, can we have the town's...
Yeah, I think we've been down this road before. I know you have. And I think the answer is no, because it can be manipulated. And I don't think it's best practices either, based on what we've heard.
I would agree with that. But I also think that if Mr. Murphy is inclined, he could certainly come and sit with me, and I'd be happy to take the time to go through the budget with him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think we could discuss this offline. I think there are other resources that we need to reach out to see, if we can accommodate him.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get you the data one way or the other, but I know you want specifically a spreadsheet. I know in the past we haven't done that, and
Actually, you have. So, and I sent to Sarah as an example the 2020 data that I got from the supervisor at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and again, I can go back a number of years, and just as an example is that, I've asked and it's been provided. Last year was the first year that I wasn't given the opportunity to use it in a spreadsheet.
Okay. Well, you may know the history better than me, which
Oh, I absolutely
surprised
do,
me.
Jeff.
I know you do. Okay.
Okay, so we'll leave that open.
Sure.
What am I looking for in terms of feedback? Is that something that Sarah or yourself, and by when? Because there's such a short window.
Yeah. In terms of your suggestions for the budget? I'm sorry.
No, we haven't gone there yet.
Yeah.
Just the data. Today's October 2nd. There's 3.5 weeks or so for your consideration. The sooner that the data is made available.
So I will get back to you before the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, the strong preference would be to have the data, the raw data, to be able to use in a spreadsheet.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
So thank you. That's my first question.
Yeah.
So I got specific questions, and again, I'm prepared to send you emails with these questions if we can't answer them tonight.
Sure.
So I know the pickleball courts are opening at Shadow Pines next week. And first of all, thank you. I know there's a lot of hard work to get
Yeah.
there. I go by it every day. The contractors, to my eye, have done a great job. I'm kind of looking forward to going. My wife's a big pickleball player. But I wanted to ask the question, I mean, how much all in did this really cost us? I saw on the planning sheet, you know,
Yeah.
the $2 million plus the $350K from Senator Brooke. But how much
Yeah.
is this project really costing us?
Yeah. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I'm sure we have a good number, and you probably can't. It'd be tougher to estimate all the soft costs that go along with it, but we have a number.
We do. I don't know it off the top of my head either, but I can give that number to you. And I do think we still have some costs that are still coming in, so I don't know that I have that final number for you just yet, because we do still have active invoices in our system.
So from
Yeah,
what I
but-
recall, the projected, from when we first signed the contract, allocated the ARPA funds, et cetera,
Correct.
it was a projected $4 to $5 million. We had a lot of delta because of unknown projects, project impacts, but it was between $4 to $5 million.
And again, I'm referencing the spreadsheet that was, you know, out on your site, that it was at $2.3 million. And again, you know, you read the headlines and,
Yeah.
you know, the cost of everything is expensive. And again, I had a follow-up question regarding how much ARPA funds did we actually use on this project?
Yep. That 2.3 was for phase one. The project is split into two phases, and we wanted to get at least some of, for example, the pickleball courts in first so that folks could enjoy anticipated for opening this fall, right? And then if you recall, like the open fields and other things that were in the first concept plan has been reserved for phase two. So I gave that $4 to $5 million because it really depended the board at the time of what after phase one of what we would select for completion in phase two. So there's a lot of variable there. And then for ARPA, if you give me a second, I can find it, unless Sarah can pull it really quickly. That's already a firm number.
Actually, I don't have VPN in here, so I cannot pull it.
Ask your second question. I'll look for it.
Yeah,
Tim.
I mean,
So really, the follow-up was, you know, how much of the ARPA funds was dedicated to this project, and then how much is left? I mean, I've heard in the past that the two rounds summed up to about $3.4 million. You know, and I know the streetlights were part, you know, of the spend against that, but how much of that money was spent for Shadow Pines?
Yeah.
And how much is left?
So I do know how much is left, but
Okay.
it has been appropriated or allocated. So there's $533,000
Of the ARPA funds?
of the ARPA funds, but those, again, the board in a previous session did determine how those funds would be used.
Okay. Okay, good. And was 3.4 the right number for the total amount of ARPA funds?
So that sounds right to me, but I don't have it in front of me.
I looked around, and the only thing I could reference was my notes, so, but the question stands. You know, how much of that money did we spend
Yeah.
on Shadow Pines? And what was the total spend? Because, again, we started the project, and as we all know,
Yeah.
along the way, the costs go up.
absolutely.
So I can answer, as of March 6th, resolution dated, the total for phase one, not to exceed $3.5 million. So again, not to exceed for it was awarded to Genesee Construction for that amount.
Yep.
Total ARPA funds by Resolution 22T-202, Town Board allocated $2 million of ARPA towards the project. And like you mentioned, the $350,000 from Senator Brooks' office towards the construction of the pickleball courts only.
So again, just trying to reconcile the numbers. I mean, you know, not to exceed 3.4, the original has been 4 to 5. What does it really cost?
Yeah, I mean, we can
And where
get
did the
that
rest
to
of
you.
that monies come from?
It came from an appropriation from the general assigned fund balance in the amount of $1,156,000, $945.00.
So I can't add that all up in my mind, but I'd like us to sit down and try to get to
Absolutely.
that number.
Sure.
Okay, so again, I mean,
Yeah.
the bottom line is, what I've done in the past is try to ask a good question, you folks get a chance to do the math, and then you post the questions and the answers on the town website. I hope you would do the same
Yeah.
for all of these. Okay, is that reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay, the new DPW facility. I mean, I ride my bike around town all the time, and I
Yeah.
see everything that's going on, and, I mean, it's well underway. The school district's got 2 huge projects going on right now, and, as I look at things, I'm like, what is the impact going to be on our taxes, going forward, especially with some of the other things that are also a possibility?
Right.
So my question really is, how much is the DPW facility going to cost? Do you have an estimate? $25 million is on the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you have a better number, and, how much of that is going to be bonded is kind of like my big question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we're not sure is the quick answer. And the numbers, I think, will get sooner than later, we'll have a better idea of where the overall number is going to be. I think with some of the issues you usually find when you're in the ground, and we're in the ground now, and we had a few things that have come up, but it's been estimated really well. So I think it's going to be a little bit more than 25 million. I can't remember if it includes FF&E or furniture and the finishes, but we have all those numbers and we can get them for you. In terms of where it stands now, some of it is, it depends on what happens in terms of construction. But again, the way I understand it, or I've been told, and MRB is doing a great job, most of the hidden things or the things that would come up that would really impact the budget, we're almost through that phase, I hope, which is usually when you're in the ground. So hopefully that'll hold in terms of the overall estimate that we're getting.
So respectfully, Mr. Supervisor.
So we can get you actual numbers on what's
I
been
would
going
think
on.
we'd all want the actual numbers
Yeah.
as best, or maybe a not-to-exceed number if that's what you use.
Yeah,
But,
it's-
I mean, we've broken
yeah.
ground, we're underway.
Totally.
And I asked the question, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a kind of an incomplete answer, respectfully.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I don't have an exact number, but I think it's going to be 25 million to 26, maybe, something like that. And I don't think any more than that, the way I understand it.
and how much of that are we going to pay through bond?
Yeah, and we're not sure exactly what we're going to do yet, but
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. I mean, I would think that maybe you had some kind of skeleton plan.
well,
Say
we
how much
absolutely.
bond, how much
Yeah,
fund
we had a
balance.
plan. I think the resolution, we could bond up to 30 million, and then I think the idea was to maybe use 5 million in our fund balance as an initial. But what we haven't done is, and we're getting good direction from, I always forget, it's BPD, but Donegan, which is our advisory firm. And we've been meeting with them pretty regularly to try to figure out what to do. So there's a lot of options, Tim, in terms of when we lock in financing. And we can't bond or take on too much debt more than the project is going to cost. So what we may do is do a short-term borrowing for a year or 6 months before so we're kind of going through that whole process.
So a couple questions come to mind.
But I can give you numbers. I mean, part of the budget has a contingency plan of some sort, but some numbers we just won't know the final.
Is
But
the
yeah.
2025 preliminary budget have a line item that shows payments or funding for the DPW facility?
Yes.
Yeah.
How much is it?
So it is, but it is dependent on when and if we go to bond. So, but there is a provision in there in the event that we do go to bond. So we do have principal and interest in there, and I think the principal amount is $350,000. And I believe the interest was ballpark $640,000 for the first year.
So I saw a reference that some of this would come out of the assigned general fund balance.
Yeah.
How much money do we have in that fund balance?
Currently, in the assigned, let's see, we have 34 million in the assigned.
Holy cow. So we've been saving for years is what I'm jumping
For
to.
specific projects, it is assigned fund balance.
And sorry, Sarah,
Yep,
assigned means it's earmarked? It's
correct. It is earmarked.
So we have,
That's correct.
and sorry, I just get a little shivers. We've been saving for a long time. We know we have some big projects to do.
Mm-hmm.
We have $34 million in. It just strikes me as a big number. Not that that's bad.
Well,
'cause
so a lot of that is interest. So keep that in mind. So that is in interest-bearing accounts. So a lot of that is interest. So
Well,
that's not what taxpayers put into it.
I totally get that, but that probably, even with compounding, would have to be a fairly long run, especially with interest rates being as low as they were up until fairly recently. I'm sorry, I don't mean to back and forth, but $34 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
sounds like it's been passed down from administration to administration. You guys are
Yeah.
fortunate enough to be the ones that pull the trigger on some big projects. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
just
mean-
my editorializing.
Yeah. Well, I get to be at the ribbon cutting next week, although it started a long time before me.
Good comment,
So,
Jeff.
Anyway.
Okay, so again, just trying to understand, I'm sure other people would be interested too.
Sure.
Is there any state or grant or any other funding? I know the school district gets a lot of money from the state for their projects. You know, it's a crazy amount of money. Is there any available to help offset the costs of this kind of capital project? Or is it all on us?
What kind of capital project? I'm sorry.
The DPW facility?
Yeah, we're probably past that point, I would think, to get a grant for it. I really don't know. We're always looking for grants or any option there, you know, depending on what the use is for it. I don't know, Tim. This is a quick answer.
Okay.
I mean, if there was a grant, my guess is we would have pursued it, as we pursue many grants, I think, that depending on the case.
I'm sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
know how diligent the functions are to try to find money to help fund things.
Sure.
You know, I've seen that in action. Okay, I'm likely to have a follow-up question, and I would like to sit with Sarah to talk specifically about this project. And again, hopefully this detail sees the light of day, because you know, people are going by and saying, hey, something's
Yeah.
happening here, how much is it going to cost? And again, what I wanted to know is how is it going to impact our taxes, our town taxes
Yeah.
in particular. And so I guess my follow-up is I thought I heard there wasn't a lot of retirement of debt this year. What about next year, and especially if we're taking on the cost of doing
yeah.
this? I mean, shouldn't there be a pretty good-sized line item reflecting, you know, the need to pay this off, however long the bond is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the planning went before I started, but there's a lot of what ifs coming down to the line.
But how do we, Jeff, how do we plan for that for 2020? How do you plan for that for 2025?
Well, we're going through that, but the budget includes some assumptions that we had to make really months ago. Like even the bonding is in the budget. I don't know, I think there's one principal payment.
Correct.
There's paying, you know, obviously interest. And I think it assumes that we lock in bonding right at January 1st. But there's some questions on when we should do that based on the guidance we're getting. So those are the kind of what ifs. Like I think we would say, I think the budget item, what could be in the current tentative budget may not be an accurate interest rate, for instance, on, you know, what we're going to do next year in terms of interest, what we're going to pay.
So sorry, I'm going to beat this up, but I just I'm thinking of it this way. If it's a $25 million facility,
Yeah.
and you get a 30-year bond, and I'm probably
Sure.
not going to, you're going to pay $1 million a year approximately plus interest.
Yeah,
Where is that in the budget?
yeah,
It is in the budget.
yeah, it is in the budget.
So I'm sorry, I'm playing ping pong with you here. So does that mean that we're going to use a goodly amount of that $34 million to fund this particular project so that the bond will be nominal? Is that what I'm kind of?
Potentially. There's a lot of what-ifs on however it was planned out, a year ago, might change. We make some money on interest on our cash, so there's a balance how we use it all versus our debt, which can be less than what we're making on our cash. And I've kind of, learned all this in this past year, but that's one of the benefits with the town. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, sorry.
So maybe the thing to ask is, can this be explained to the community in terms of what the impact is of the budget?
Sure.
How much of the money are you going to use from this assigned fund balance?
Yeah.
Just some level of detail to make us feel good. Hey, wait a minute. We've been saving this money for a while. It's finally time to do the project. We're not going to have to bond a lot of money. And again, this is just my conjecture. Again, I look at some of the other projects that people might be interested, whether it be the Clark House or whatever. We've got to spend money on other things. How much are we going to spend on this DPW of that $34 million that's been earmarked? I think we'd like to know the answer.
Yeah, I think the original plan was to use $5 million of what we have and bond potentially 20, but it depended on, I think the resolution was more at the beginning of last year, whenever it was done, because we just didn't know what the final numbers were going to be, if I'm saying that right.
Correct. So the estimates, the contracts have come in at a lower than anticipated amount. So originally, the resolution was for a $30 million project with $5 million of cash committed. And it doesn't look like it's going to be quite $30 million. It looks like it's going to be about 25. But again, as you go through the project, things do change, right? Especially when we're in the ground, because we can't see underground. So once we're kind of up above the ground and the structure is being built, it's a little bit more predictable. And then we'll have a little bit better idea. Your questions are excellent. It's just a little bit premature for us to be able to give you a solid, true number at this point. I can tell you that we are on track for the $25 million, and that includes $4 million in incidentals. So things like furniture and whatnot.
And I guess at one point, another way to answer your question, we can kind of show you what the plan's been and what what's changed in terms of why we holding on to so much cash and what's the right balance with that. And this is guidance we're getting from our bond counsel, but they have projections on how we pay for it, and that's all part of what we're doing with our fund balance. There's like a 5, 6, 7-year projection on, and it includes big projects like potentially the Clark House. I think that's
the rec center.
Well, I don't know if that's gotten into.
I mean, they're all on the list.
Sure.
And to Sarah's point, tonight we have a resolution that's going to approve an additional $309,900 that they came across unsuitable soils more than they had anticipated. So it is a little bit of a moving target that we'll see probably throughout this whole project, but that is one thing we'll have tonight.
So again, I appreciate this has been a long road to get to this point. And you folks are, again, at a point where you've got to now execute.
Yeah.
But $34 million on a $23 million budget, there's got to be some guidance in New York State on best practices to how much money you have reserved. And
Sure.
I mean, it's got to be more like, I'm just guessing, 10 or 15% as opposed to this enormous amount of funds that have built up to our advantage.
Yeah.
But again, previous administrations obviously made the decision not to do something, and now you have to do something.
Yeah.
And we just want to know where the money's coming from, and how much is going to be bonded, how much of this money is going to be used, and if you could lay that out for us, I think the community would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Right. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no.
So, Tim, if I can just clarify really quickly, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but of the 34 million, only 4 million of that is actual reserves, which just for like layman, it's cash on hand for a rainy day, right? It's not that the town is holding on to 34 million of just cash in the back rooms, right? It's only, so if it is just shy of 10%, right? Of the total of that assigned fund balance. The other remainder of that amount, very large amount, they're already allocated or earmarked for reoccurring or projected expenses in the next 3 to 5 years. And so it is a lot of money, but it's not that we're just holding on to cash. They are already going to highway projects, sidewalk projects, recreation funds, every single department, or to support library or things like this. They are already pulled to support municipal functions and everything that taxpayers enjoy and all the services. So it is, like you said, we are holding approximately 10%. That's to preserve our credit rating. And Penfield and all of Monroe County, we rank as one of the highest with an A plus, A1 credit rating.
So cost of capital is very competitive.
Yes. So I just
That's a good thing.
wanted to clarify, of reserves is a portion of the assigned fund balance.
So that's great clarity. Thank you. I mean, just my follow-up question is, of the 34, where are the earmark? Can you show us the earmark?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's
The forward-looking, hey, we're going to spend money here, here, and here against this amount.
Sure. I mean, I would defer to council in terms of what would be confidential or we could probably get you like the titles and dollar amounts, but so long as it doesn't get into like specific salary lines with individual names, et cetera. And I know you're not seeking that kind of confidential information, but, something like that, I would defer to town council and have you work with town staff.
So thank you for that.
But
Again, that makes
to
me
sharing
feel
it
a
with the
little-
wider public, I get it.
That's a perspective. Thank you. I needed to hear that. I think we all needed to hear it. Okay, so again, just forward-looking, again, people have fallen in love with the Clark House, the word's out there that maybe we'll make an investment in there and have a pavilion, the barn. I've tried to follow that, and it's still kind of in motion.
Yeah.
I mean, are there any near-term plans to make a big capital project out of anything, whether it's the rec center, improvements here, the Clark House? I mean,
Yeah, the
you've got to
Clark
have
House,
some-
the Clark House is a big thing that's been kind of in the works, and I think we're going to get some final numbers on that by the end of the fall, if I remember.
I think it was spring, Jeff. I think it
Is
was
it?
this
Okay,
spring.
okay. I know that's been gone through the planning stages before I started, and maybe Bob and Candace, but it's been going on for a while.
No, I think you're right. I think we're to the point, we're just waiting for some fine-tuned numbers to get us back to what that project's going to be before we commit
Yeah.
moving forward and to what level.
Which, as I understand it, doesn't mean once we get the numbers, we may say we want to
Yeah.
make some changes, but I thought it was by the end of this year. I'm not sure, but I can check.
I would say that's the closest next project, right, that we're seeing on the table
Yeah.
to evaluate and determine what we want to do.
One that's actually kind of in the numbers with a possibility of using, where, like a new rec center or something, hasn't gotten into the numbers yet, so to speak, the way I understand it.
And just a fine point, because I go to Shadow Pines almost every day.
Yeah.
Please, the tarp on the barn, I mean, winter's coming, half of it's blown off already.
Yeah.
And the Clark House, I mean, I don't know what more we can do to protect it as an asset, and maybe it's not worth doing, but you can almost see now, week to week, the bricks falling off the patio
Yeah.
and the like, and if there's a thought that some of that's going to be saved, before the snow flies, would just be my commentary, if you could please do something.
Yeah.
So I have some more questions, but I'd save them for the public participation, because it is a little bit about the numbers, but, so I can definitely meet with Sarah, but the big ask, again, is my questions, we'll get a good answer, and then share it with the community,
You got it.
please.
Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for the budget hearing? Okay. All right, with that, we'll close that hearing and open up the public participation. Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for that?
Anthony Perone.
Hi, Rhonda. How you doing?
Hi. My name is Anthony Perone. I live at 1935 Dublin Road. On August 8th of this year, representatives of Penfield New York Partners, LLC, presented a sketch plan to the Planning Board for a development on the corner of Sweets Corners Road and Route 250 that would necessitate rezoning a portion of the mixed-use development district in that area. Central to the developer's argument for scrapping a district that serves the town's long-term interest is the idea that finding commercial tenants for mixed-use space has been difficult, and therefore a wholesale warehouse and 10-acre parking lot are necessary to draw in other businesses. I find this explanation sorely lacking, and I think anyone claiming to serve the public interest should find it lacking too. Mixed use constitutes a set of architectural guidelines which, even when followed to the letter, permit countless variations on space, form, and style. The developers have shared nothing regarding alternative, true mixed-use designs that may have been shopped around to no avail. For all the public knows, there haven't been any. Even had there been, are we to believe that all mixed-use possibilities have been exhausted, that no combination of amenities has been enough to attract interest? Similarly, nothing has been shared publicly regarding the type or quantity of businesses that may have been engaged by the developer in making their determination. How exhaustive was their search? Was some kind of third-party market research used? Has there been any real feedback from potential tenants? It seems to me that a simpler explanation might fit. Rather than mixed use being a poor fit for businesses, as the developer argument implies, it seems that the sort of tenants that mixed use hopes to attract are a poor fit for the developer's business model. Consider that in our own mixed use manual, descriptions of the commercial element skews heavily towards offices, studios, and small service businesses. They're generally smaller and looking for available space, having neither the time nor the resources to wait on a multi-year development. Building for them would require the entrepreneurial courage to break ground without agreements in place, incurring the sort of risk that Penfield New York Partners seems unwilling to take on. I see no reason for the town of Penfield to yield our principles because of a single developer's lack of imagination. There are others out there who may actually show a shred of faith in the allure of our town, who may have the courage not to resort to worn-out models that make for safe investment and drab, ruined communities. We call ourselves the town of planned progress, and the same old nonsense is anything but progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I just want to make sure, the town had published very shortly after that the developer withdrew that initial sketch plan,
That's correct.
and you know that as well?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, and we're all, of course, listening to your feedback, and
Thank you.
echo a lot of that of the residents, and of course, a lot of the dialogue that's been happening with Preserve Penfield and the group, and many of them are, all of them are residents, many of them are our friends, and so I just want to be clear that, again, that sketch plan, as heavily criticized by you right now, is no longer being considered at all by the town planning board.
That's right. I understand that's
Okay.
not business before any board, hence public participation rather than any sort of hearing.
Perfect.
I expect them to come back with a different plan, possibly completely different. Who knows what it could be. I took a bit of outrage at their justification for wanting to deviate so far from the mixed-use development, and thought better to try and collect my thoughts before responding to it. So it's been a little while since the last hearing. It concerns me for someone to make such seemingly unfounded arguments before the town, and I wanted to
perhaps get ahead of them trying to continue to make similar arguments for a different but still unsuitable development for that area, hearts and minds and all that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
And then Mr. Murphy would like to speak.
come ahead, Tim.
So Tim Murphy, 48 Carroll Drive. I also want to speak about the Costco situation. I had some questions. The young man was very articulate, and I also was at the meeting and stayed to the very end, heard all of 30 some odd people speak. And, my first question is, I know they've withdrawn their application, but I also have the letter here in front of me, and the way I read it is, it sounds likely that BME thinks they're going to come back, is the way I read it. So one of the questions that I have is, what I thought I heard is that session, that public hearing, was to gather community input. And by my count, there were 30 of the 35 people were against it, mostly for traffic reasons, legitimate. Quality of life is definitely legitimate. My question is, were all of those comments aggregated up into some kind of statement or letter by the town? And do they have it at the ready if the application comes back and you want to share that first round of input? Question, has that letter been created? That statement?
Yeah, no. I don't-
Typically, the planning
Yeah.
board would issue a sketch plan review letter that would include all those comments, but I don't believe they issued that because the application was withdrawn. However, I do believe staff has aggregated the comments, and I just don't know whether or not the letter was issued.
Also, the developer in
They were
person,
here.
they were here, so they heard it in real time, for themselves. So I do think we did compile it. The board certainly, we all took notes. We were there. I, wrote down as much as we could. So in some form, yes, it's been aggregated. Is it at the ready to provide? No, because they heard it themselves.
But they did, I think it was largely due to the public response why they withdrew their application, because the normal process would have been to wait for the letter, and then they take that under advisement. And I think if they were to come in again, the reason why they withdrew it, I think, is because when they come in again, they will come in again as a sketch rather than as an actual application to get more feedback on a revised plan.
Okay, so that all helps. Those are good answers. Thank you. I did look at the website, and the town website, I should say, and it does look like it's the purview of the planning board to provide this letter with the initial feedback. Again, my question was, did that get created? I know the application's been withdrawn, but imagine that if it does, in the current moment, last month or in August, many people showed up and made their voices heard, and I was hopeful that we would have that at least at the ready if there's a next round. And if it is, I'd like it to be shared. Somebody is going to author it, somebody's going to assimilate all that information, and knowing what that says, I think, would be important for the community to know.
Okay.
So thank you. Also regarding Costco, and again, I haven't made up my mind. I've listened to the conversation. I'm trying to just, consider myself an interested and concerned citizen.
Sure.
Costco, I did some research. Their numbers are phenomenal in terms of the revenue that the per store, $200 million average per store.
Yeah.
So I asked Ms. Reynolds this question, but I wanted to ask you folks in the light of day, has any kind of financial forecast been prepared, just high level, to say what it could mean to the tax and the property values in our community, in our county?
Yeah.
And I don't know how the sales tax is shared, and that'd be probably a follow-on question.
Yeah.
But really, the question is, shouldn't it be incumbent upon us, if this is not a dead issue, to be prepared and to at least be able to talk to, what it could mean for our community in terms of revenue? We know that we're light in terms of the commercial tax base. In New York State, the benchmark is 20%. I know we're less than 10%, is last I heard. That doesn't make a case for Costco, but again, it makes me wonder, shouldn't we do our due diligence around, what if this is something we could somehow make work?
Yeah.
So the question is,
Yeah.
can we put some kind of forecast together in terms, again, the numbers are out there. Go ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They'll tell you how much a customer spends every month. We heard 2.9 million visits at the city gate last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pretty easily do some math there and come up with some numbers that are pretty compelling.
Yeah.
So- Also related to that, if they came back again, and we said very strongly that not in that location because of all these good reasons.
Yeah.
And they were willing to work with us like they have in other communities. They have deep pockets. Hopefully they have some built-in flexibility, whether it's somewhere else in town. I've heard people mention Panorama Plaza. What would it take to partner with them to guide the potential development of their store and things around it?
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be a lot of work, and it might be worth doing, but how does that happen? So the question is, how would you imagine if they came back and said, yes, we'd like to still build in your town, what are the terms? How would you approach that, is my question.
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't have a quick answer, but, yeah.
I would hope you'd be at the ready if they come back with an
Yeah.
answer to that.
I mean, it's a small town, so in
Jeff,
terms
it's 40,000 people.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of where Costco would go, I mean, people have mentioned Panorama, and my guess is they're talking already, or the developers talk in general. My guess is Costco wanted to come in a particular spot, but
I'm sure they did their homework, right?
yeah, I
We're
guess
sure they
that's
did their homework.
Yes.
So kind of related this, it's just observation. I've gone over to the Arbors a number of times,
Yeah.
and I've been very surprised how slowly the development is going there. In fact, I was just over there last Sunday, rode my bicycle past the cones, and there's weeds growing everywhere, and I went by there during a work day, and there's very few people working. I mean, I've seen development go fast, and I think I've seen it go slow, and this sure looks like it's going slow. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, nothing that I'm aware of. I mean, it did have some spurts and slow moments in the last couple of years, I know that. But I don't think there's anything specific.
I mean, those patio homes have been there for a while, and there's weeds growing up all over.
Yeah.
And again, there are very few workers' cars there.
I want to say they have a target of January when they're going to start renting, but I'm not really sure.
I saw an ad recently saying now
Yeah.
at least, but nothing looks like it's even close to being ready, to
Yeah.
my eye. And I'm an uninformed, observer of
Yeah.
that. But the roads haven't had, a second paved to them. Again, it doesn't look like the infrastructure is ready by any means.
Yeah. I mean, we can find out more of a timeline if that's what you're looking for.
I'm just worried that maybe the mixed-use district may not work there. Between the gun club, the traffic,
Well,
just even our community's ability to support a mixed-use district. I mean, I wonder. I mean, I hope it works, but I wonder.
yeah, it's been long in the planning, I know that much, and yeah, I hope it works out. We need to make sure.
Could you
it works
imagine
out.
a possibility to offer you folks maybe working with Costco and those folks to see if that footprint might work?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean.
So there's a lot of land there, Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor,
yeah.
a lot of land there, right?
Sure.
And it looks like they've done enough of the grading and stuff, but there's very little build-out to my eye. I mean, taking that northeast corner where all there's land, I mean, is that a possibility if you could see if a Costco was interested and do it under, again, the town's terms?
Yeah, I don't know what we can and can't do, but it's not our land. There's only so much we can control. I'm not sure what you're asking.
So one of the reasons why they were coming in, I think, as a PDD, which is a kind of a mixed-use type zoning, is that those type of projects would have kind of certain controls and design. There's be involvement from the town board and the planning board, so I think that's one of the reasons why they were thinking of doing that, although, they still have some work to do. But, I mean, you point out a lot of reasons why it's worth considering, but whether or not they can make it work is another question. But a PDD is a planned development district, which is involving a lot of, I don't have all those at my fingertips, but there's different restrictions and things that can be set by the town board if it were to rezone as a PDD.
And rezoning is kind of the key element if ever we were going to go forward, right?
It can only, so the way it's proposed, it seems like they would need to do either a rezoning to PDD, which is a kind of a mixed use. It's not the mixed use district, but it's our comp plan talks about that as in terms of a mixed use type of zoning. The other option would be to stay mixed use and then seek waivers and variances, and that's a different option. But the benefit of the PD is that there's more constraints as far as conditions that could be imposed if it were to be granted.
And that's what all the work in the past was, undoubtedly, to get to a point where you could provide that kind of guidance. Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand, but again, it was more of an observation, is that the arbor certainly doesn't look like it's moving very quickly. And I heard a few of the citizens speak very eloquently that, hey, why don't we wait till that's done, assess the situation, whether it's with traffic or, infrastructure or the like. Seemed to make sense, but it kept bothering me that I was seeing very little get done there over the last year and a half. So I guess it's more of an observation than it is a question.
Yeah, I guess the answer is, I don't think anything's slowed. I know there was some slowing, I want to say the end of last year for whatever reason. And it could be supply, but I'm not aware of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I expected for an answer, Jeff, so, okay.
No, it's fine.
So the last question, and sorry,
Yeah. No, go ahead.
So Shadow Pines, we've talked about it, and we're dedicating the pickleball courts next week.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I hope's on your agenda is the designation as a park. It hasn't gotten done, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The quarry, in my mind, was always the gating item, and the intention of John Odenbach that it'd be an asset to the community. That's what motivated a lot of us to work hard to,
Sure.
Lobby the community to save that property from development. What I would ask you is, again, make sure that it's on your goals and objectives, is to look at changing that designation to a park. Again, it's next to a big hole in the ground. There was a clear intention that it was going to be an asset to the community.
Yeah.
Time's going to go by and we're going to lose sight of things. I ask it to be on your to-do list to look at changing the designation to make it a park. And I know how difficult it could be to undo it, but it's such an asset to the community right now. Maybe future administrations might not see it that way, so protecting it now while we have a chance and it's fresh and top of mind makes sense to me. So that's my big ask.
Okay. Got it, Tim.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry.
Thank you.
I took up so much time.
It's all right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Let you get out of here if you want, Tim.
Excuse me? So I can email this to Amy? Or you? Email it to me. Okay. Can you just...
All right. Let Tim get out of here. But next on the agenda is additions or deletions to the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on approval of the minutes. We need to approve the September 4th and 10th minutes. We get a chance to look at them. Can I get a motion to approve?
Yep, you want one motion for both sets? You want them independent?
I think for both is fine.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve both the 9-4 and 9-10 minutes, please.
I'll second.
Okay, vote please.
Mary?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
All aye.
Okay, next item, petitions. Do we have any petitions? Okay, we'll start with resolutions by function. Start with law and finance.
Approving a special permit to operate a coffee house and ice cream stand in existing building space located at 1350 Empire Boulevard in the LaSalle's Landing Development District.
Moved as written.
Okay, any other comments? Or,
Second?
I'll
Lit-
second.
sorry. Okay.
Barry,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Leenhouts,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
All aye. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a storm sewer easement at 76 Ashlyn Rise.
Moved as written.
Second.
Vote, please.
Barry,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
All aye. Authorize the supervisor to sign a grant agreement with New York Energy Research and Development Authority.
So moved.
I'll second.
The town of Penfield is designated as a clean energy community, and as part of that designation, the town has applied for a $50,000 grant to install charging stations at 3 various locations in the town. The New York State Energy Research and Development Authority has approved our grant application, and as part of that, the town would need to sign the agreement with NYSERDA. We'll be receiving the first portion of that grant and then move towards installation.
Vote. Barry,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
All aye. Amending the general construction contract for the DPW garage project.
So moved.
Second.
I'll just read this resolution. We kind of touched on it earlier regarding the DPW garage. Whereas per Resolution 24T099, the Town Board awarded a contract to Lefroy Builders in the amount of $15,443,556 to provide general construction contract services for the DPW garage project. And whereas the original contract included a per-ton cost for additional unsuitable soils to be removed from the site if needed, and whereas the amount of unsuitable soils uncovered during excavation exceeded the estimated amount included in the original contract. Whereas the additional cost requires a change order that would result in a contract increase of $309,900. Whereas the Town Board is hereby amending the original contract by $309,900. Now therefore be it resolved, the amended contract with Lefroy Builders will be a total of $15,753,456.
I'll second.
Vote, please.
Barry,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
All aye. Amending a contract for the construction of a bypass sanitary sewer from State Road to Stonebridge Substation.
Moved as written.
Second.
Vote.
Barry,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
All aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, is there any old business to discuss? I don't think
No.
so. Any new business?
No.
Okay, seeing none, I want to thank everyone and adjourn this meeting at 7:43. The next meeting is November 6th. Thank you.